Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 77th episode of Let's Talk Inclusion. I'm Manavina Chakrabarti, founder of iFor Inclusion and state president of the Inclusive Education and Skill Development Time Council, Wiki Gujarat chapter. For those who may be new to our platform, Wiki stands for the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, uh, through its Gujarat chapter on inclusive education and skill development, we are building bridges between policy and practice, ensuring that inclusion is not just spoken about but truly lived in our schools and communities. This evening, our theme is bringing truly inclusive classrooms from policy to practice. Inclusion has long been part of national and international education policy, but the question remains, how do we translate those words into everyday classroom realities? To explore this important conversation, I'm joined by Ms. Charu Dolakia, an educator and passionate advocate for children with diverse learning needs. Charu is also a member of our council. Charu, thank you for being here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I feel truly privileged.
Could you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hello.
A few lines about yourself, Charu.
Oh, yeah, it's so difficult to talk about oneself, but I am a passionate special educator. I started my career as a special educator, as a regular educator, then moved to special educator. I have been working with special need population for more than, I guess, 2 decades, and I am associated with many schools, and I basically work with teachers especially to make them aware uh, for their schools and trying to make their schools inclusive.
Thank you very much. Beautifully said. Let's move into today's conversation then. To begin, Charu, could you tell us what inspired you to take up a career in special education and inclusive learning? Was there a moment that sparked your journey, or has it been a gradual path of discovery?
I would say inclusion started from the family, because I have been blessed to be in a family who was so inclusive in all the terms. We six members, we were following four different spiritual practices at home. My parents being into education, educationist, on every night on dining table, children were discussed. At that time, they were not labeled, but it was very certain that they are having some kind of special need. So my parents would discuss. Then the strategies would have been discussed on the dining table. And while growing up, so become going into a teaching profession was a very obvious choice. Then, while growing up, I also found that inclusivity is everywhere. Take it the now fashion industry, take it like the our Bollywood, our cinema. Everywhere, people are included, and especially if you go back into the literature when the British education was not there, Gurukul system. It was all inclusive. So I was very lucky to go through the history of education. And what sparked it, yes, there was a moment when I decided it was really very inner calling. I was doing some internship in during my vacation, and I was going to a NGO where they were taking care of the children with hearing impairment. So I was given a task to be with a child, and the mother came and she told that I don't want anything, but my child, it can speak ma or mom to me. I've been waiting, I've been longing for that word to hear. So I worked with that child. I had no professional experience at that time. I worked with him, and finally he could say "ma, mama." So that was a moment I thought that I want to keep it as my profession.
So nice. So you have spoken about your inspiration. Now
Yeah.
let's turn to practice.
Yeah.
From your perspective, what does a truly inclusive classroom look like? If you
I
walk into
feel,
one
yeah,
tomorrow, would we see, hear, and feel?
for
Let's.
me, inclusive classroom is all about diverse classroom. So the first thing comes where the diversity of the students is respected, is honored, it is embraced and highlighted, where the children have equal access to all the opportunities like other children. They feel safe, included, and they have meaningful participation. By meaningful participation, here I mean to say that they are not just integrated, they are not just made to sit in the class, they are participating, equally participating in the classroom activity, no matter with support or with some modification in their task, the classroom expectation remains same. So for me, that is the real inclusion, the ideal inclusion, I should say.
So it's not about labels, but about a sense of belonging and access to all, right?
Yes.
So while the vision is clear, the journey is challenging.
Yes.
Teachers, teachers who are at the heart of this work, like you and I, often feel underprepared, maybe.
Yes.
And in your view, what are the biggest challenges teachers face when they try to make inclusion real in their classrooms?
Yes. I feel the first thing begins with they are not equipped to handle to that diversity. One of the reason is not that they don't want to do, they are clueless what to do, because if their teacher training courses, pre-service and teacher training courses doesn't include such kind of diversity. They are still having in India that teaching courses, decade old courses where there is a physiology, psychology, sociology, but the core thing is like how to handle classroom management if you have an inclusive classroom. And with all those in India, with all those law, right to education have been implemented and kind of being enforced, the inclusive population, diverse population is increasing in Indian schools, and so classes are demographically they are more diverse. They may not be inclusive, but they are more diverse. So the first thing is they are not equipped because they are not being trained. And then there are some other logistically also the classrooms are crowded. They feel helpless because average population of Indian classroom is 40, more than 40. It may go up to 60 also. So, some of the teacher, when I talk to teacher, they say we don't know even the names of all the children because classrooms are so crowded. So, what about giving personal attention or included the children or to meet the diverse need of few learners? It's very difficult for them. Then there are again the support of the management, whether they are inclusive, because inclusion is a philosophy. Yeah, you need to bring empathy, you need to embrace it, and it's not only the job of teacher, it's a collaborative effort of all the stakeholders present in education fraternity. So I think then there is long syllabus to complete, which they have to complete. So that's their priority because they are answerable for that to the management. So these are some factors, but I'm hopeful things are changing. Few schools are being inclusive. They have started like realizing the importance of inclusion. So as we are going for good future, like I'm quite hopeful for that.
So nice. Let's be hopeful. That's what we can do. Thank you. But inclusive education is never the work of teachers alone, right? Parents too play an equally important role.
True.
How can parents and schools work more effectively together to create inclusive experiences for children?
Yes,
According,
I would like to recall an old African proverb: a village is required to raise a child. In the
yeah,
same way, if we have diverse, special need children, children with differential need, the entire education community needs to raise them to make them fully participate in education. And parents, being a very strong important stakeholder, their part cannot be ignored. So there should be a collaboration, lock and key mechanism. What school is doing, if that can be replicated at home by parents, is really very helpful. They need to collaborate. The school also need to collaborate parents more in inviting them for their children program, to make them aware what's being done, what should be done. From parent side, what challenge we face, that there is a acceptance issue. They may not accept the child has some different needs, so that acceptance need is required. And
yeah,
they need to trust the school at some level, that whatever school is starting, whatever program is appropriate for their child. Many schools have inclusive programs for children. They have separate education plans for them. The parents are invited in that making of IEPs or plans. The parents need to show the trust. Okay, it will helpful to my child, and
yeah,
that's a trust, and that trust needs to be built, which is sometimes missing.
yeah.
But without parents' collaboration, participation, inclusion cannot lead to success.
Very true. So it always helps to ground our discussion in lived experiences. Could you share a real example of or a success story where inclusion has made a significant difference to a child, or maybe a family, or even to a whole school community?
I have many stories, but I would like to cite the latest one. Like few months back, we have a child. They migrated from USA. He's having a hearing impairment. He was using appropriate devices, but the device was such that he's using, and others who are communicating with him, they also need to wear that kind of microphone for better hearing for that child. Now, when the parents approached the school, we had to make certain changes. The very first thing was to sensitizing other children, because children, the other learners, need to help that particular child to use that hearing device. We need to sensitize the entire our educators team, whoever is going to that class. The child was himself very well equipped with the functioning of his hearing aid. And finally, the day came, he was included in that class, and it went off. It's still going on so well. If he forgets his microphone, the other child comes and tell him, "Oh, you forgot this microphone, so let's wear it." He's using that in everywhere, in playground, if he goes for any activity. And once in assembly, he explained himself that what he's going through, what kind of loss he is, what he is wearing, and how that part his hearing device works. He was so self, like, we trained him for self advocacy also. He's so proud of being different, and in finally he told, "I am very proud of being different, because I am part of this school community. They made me proud." So I think that is this really
Yeah,
such a
very good.
successful inclusion
Yeah,
program,
of
and I
course.
wish others.
May
Yes.
also have this kind of success stories. And what role do classmates play in making a classroom inclusive? And how can schools encourage positive peer attitudes?
See, first of all, there are certain attributes that need to be developed, especially the empathy. Once empathy, you have the empathy to embrace whatever differences the class have. The school should understand the need, that it's a need of the hour to include children, because education is an area which is not different than other sphere of the world. Everywhere inclusion is being successfully implemented. As I told you, take any industry, everybody is being included. So the same way, but it's a, it's a long process. Then sensitization of fraternity is very important. The educator, the teacher, for that, uh, teacher, if teacher needs to go through some training programs, they are not many of them are not aware about that, that what special need is, what kind of diversity they can find out in the school. I would request the government also to, revamp their courses. Whatever special education need courses that government is running, they also need lot of makeover.
Exactly.
Regular education, regular to teacher training courses should have more content of special need population, because it's a diverse, it's a very vast area.
Yeah.
If you are seeing one the different child, he's different in his own.
There's a question regarding the same, I guess. Good evening, everyone. How do we ensure that teachers themselves feel supported and not overwhelmed while trying to create inclusive classrooms?
um,
This is another wiki colleague, Nirupama Pandey.
Yes, yes. Very realistic question, I would say. See, first of all, what I feel, in my experience, teacher gets overwhelmed because their expectations sometimes are not realistic. They feel, okay, other learners are doing that much, why that learner is not doing? See, every child, development never stops. It may be delayed. So, first of all, the teachers, first of all, they need to accept, okay, there is diversity. Every child has its own pace of learning. You cannot, put all the things in one basket. Of course, sometimes you need to do differentiation. No need to overwhelm. If he is not learned in 1 month, he may learn. No, not the proficiency level may not be 80% like other children. He may learn according to his potential. Always, we should remember, as a teacher, our job is to maximize the potential of the learner. Every learner has a potential. So that is mm, my take on that. That don't no need to be overwhelmed. Take it easy.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but I think in the school system, present school system, a teacher teaches a 35 periods class,
I know.
40 students in the classroom and 35 minutes period, and she needs to complete the syllabus, or maybe she it's not possible to give
Yes,
one-on-one attention, right? So
that is one of the
teacher
challenge.
also needs yeah, teacher needs safe spaces too, what I believe, right? So
They need
regular,
support also. They
exactly.
like many schools are having special, resource rooms where children who need extra attention, who need extra instruction, they are being sent during their activity period. So learners are being supported, and there should be such kind of moment in every school. But as I told, that inclusion is a philosophy. You need to, adapt it entirely collaboratively. It's not then one teacher is doing, other is not doing.
Yeah,
Management needs to be supportive. There are so many
exactly. It's
factors.
very important. Manageable workloads. It can
Yes,
make a huge difference. And when schools invest in teachers' well-being, it creates a ripple effect. They feel stronger, and so do their students, I think.
true.
One more question. How can teacher training programs better prepare educators to handle inclusive classrooms from the very start of their careers?
Yeah, as we discussed, their teaching program, their syllabus curriculum needs to include such diverse learner. There can be a separate, content of, how to take care of the diversity of your class. And when we talk about diversity of the class, it's not only special need children. There can be children of other spectrum, like gifted population, children who are coming from low socio-economic background, children with uh, having dysfunctional families, emotional issues, all can be. When we talk about inclusion, all are included. So we have already made appeal to state government as well to include more and more. I don't know. We will keep on trying that more. They have to bring more inclusivity in their course content. That's
Yeah, very true, very true. And as Palak asked about the teacher training program, I would like to add something to it. Teacher training needs to go beyond theory, I guess.
yes.
Teachers should experience hands on practice with diverse learners during their training itself, uh, observe inclusive classrooms in action,
Yes.
and learn practical strategies like differentiated instructions
Yes.
and collaborative teaching. It's also vital to instill the right attitude that inclusion is not an extra but part of good teaching.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, is there any more question from the viewers? Yeah. So I was thinking about the technology in inclusion as well, Charu. Do you think technology can be a real game changer in inclusion? Could you
Yes.
share any tools or methods that have worked well?
Yes, some of them, but how you are using that is again a issue in the era of AI. Some learners are smart enough to completely dependent on AI. Teachers become they are getting more and more dependent on that. But where
Of
is
course.
it like actually judiciously you are using it to make the learning possible, or is a short term benefits? That's on discretion of the school and teacher. Yes, some of the softwares are really helpful. We have been using it extensively for children, especially who have difficulty in reading, which convert the text to speak.
Yeah,
There are many kinds of software which are really very useful, and we actively use it in instruction, in differentiated instruction.
yeah, very true. And technology is a tool that we have to remember that this is not a replacement of human
Yes.
connections, right? So it works best when blended with personal support. There is one more question. Another colleague from Wiki, Himani. What advice would you give to parents who are anxious about whether an inclusive school will meet their child's need?
Yes, I would advise the same as I advise the teacher. Don't be anxious. Be collaborative partner with the school. I know all schools are not welcoming, but as a parent, you have to fight.
Of
Sometimes you have
course.
to fight, sometimes you become a partner, but and anxiety won't help in any way. You also, like teacher, you as a parent, you also should have realistic expectations from your children and
Yeah,
work
that's
with
very
school.
important.
Yes.
Very, very important. And I always tell to the parents in the school I teach or I run the school, you can say, that trust the process. but
Yes, true.
stay involved. Ask questions, communicate regularly with teachers, and collaborate rather than confront. So I keep
Yes,
telling my parents that please, whatever problem you have, whatever challenges you face, come and tell us rather than telling that, madam, you can't do this, you haven't done that, right? So communication is the key. So communicate, collaborate rather than confront. And inclusion works best when parents see themselves as partners. And remember, every child has strengths in whatever way. You have to find that and focus on those strengths, right? Uh, Anyone else? Any more question from the viewers? No. Um, I can ask you something like it's about the mental well-being of teachers.
true.
How do we ensure that teachers themselves feel supported and not overwhelmed while trying to create inclusive classrooms? Because burnout is something which is very common for us, the special education or inclusive education teachers.
Yes, their mental being is very much important, because all, if they are not, cool and calm, all frustration will come on their learners. Is very true. See, there, first of all, as I said, that once they connect to the child, they have realistic expectations. They will not be anxious. They will not be anxious.
Okay,
So the first, yeah,
yeah,
sure, we can take
for
up
our
that question.
last answer, there's something in viewpoint, uh, shalaka. But in
Yeah.
my views, in inclusive classes, ASD, ADHD students should sit in the same class with NIOS students. It's true. As a human resource teacher, a special teacher,
Sorry, the question
I didn't
is,
get the question properly.
yeah,
Inclusive classes, ASD, ADHD students should sit in the same class. If it is an inclusive classroom, of course,
yes.
yes. Okay. Human resource teacher. I have never heard about human resource teacher. Are you talking about wellness teacher?
She means counselor, behavioral
Maybe,
counselor.
maybe counselor or wellness teacher, maybe.
Okay.
Uh, See, counselors and special educators are not same.
Yes.
Counselors are basically psychologists with counseling skills. Special educators are trained to cater to the needs of learning needs of uh, differently abled children and young people, maybe. So I didn't get that human resource teacher's point. If you could just elaborate, we'll definitely take it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a minute. Any other question from anyone? Mm, no, not really. So let's talk about the future vision. If you could change just one thing in the education system tomorrow to advance inclusion, what would it be?
I would like to change the assessment system, the
Okay.
kind of assessment we are doing. They say it's formative, it's summative, but still at the end of the day, everybody is evaluated at the same standards, same, standards are same, and against
Yeah.
that, I do not like, it's not only for special need children, for all, like children are being burned out. There's a lot of emotional behavioral issues due to assessment. I would like to even assessment system more inclusive. There are so many informal assessment methods which can be used, like CBSE has just started open book exam for
Yeah.
grade 9. They are planning. It's a very good move. I remember when I was in grade 9, in my state government, they also started open book. It went well, but then it's suddenly stopped, bureaucracy or whatever, because it is difficult to frame the question paper for open book exam. So such kinds of move are always welcoming. And as a teacher, as a school, also should emphasize more on mental well-being than to create scary environment, assessment environment. In our school, uh, we always believe that children should be equipped with test taking skills. There are skills which should be included in their curriculum. Okay, if you have to take exam, how you take exam without being panicked, without being running off time and other. So I would certainly like to change assessment system.
Okay. I think Shalaka has said something.
She's head
No,
teacher.
she's head teacher. I honestly, I honestly didn't get you, Shalaka. I'm very sorry.
I think she is trying to say that not human resource, head teacher.
Okay. Uh, so, what was her question previously?
Her question
Head
was in
teacher,
inclusive
special teacher, are they same? No, they are not. Head teacher in many countries, like in the UK, they call the school principal a head teacher, right?
classroom.
Like we call headmaster or headmistress. Shalaka, you can ask questions in any other language as well, if in Hindi, Gujarati, maybe. Anyway,
But we
so
we can say that in like her question was partially, I can answer that in inclusive classroom, if child has any kind of special need, ASD, ADHD, I have seen that in inclusive classroom all are there. Of course, there we have to make some modification in
yeah,
classroom structure. We have to bring differentiated instruction in assessment everywhere, but it is possible
yeah,
to include all the needs.
very nice. So, Charu, as we draw this conversation to a close, may I ask you one final question?
Sure.
What is the one key message you would like educators and parents listening today to carry away from this session?
I would believe in three C's. Three C's for me are connection, collaboration, and consistency. Whatever program they are having, trust on it, be consistent.
Okay, I think Shalaka has written something else. So
So,
means okay. Thank you so much, Charu, for your time, your insights, and your heartfelt stories. And to our viewers, today we have explored what it means to bring truly inclusive classrooms from policy to practice. We have heard how inspiration leads to action, how teachers and parents can work hand in hand, and how small steps of inclusion can ripple into life changing outcomes. On behalf of I for Inclusion and the Wiki Gujarat Inclusive Education and Skill Development Council, I thank you all for joining us for this 77th episode of Let's Talk Inclusion. Thank you very much, Charu. Thank you for your time and inputs. And until next time, let us continue to ensure that inclusion is not just a word in policy, but a lived experience in every classroom. Thank you and take care.
thank you
Bye.
very much.